Hi everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another episode of Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. Yes, today we're going to be talking about another clan mech, the Rifleman IIC. It's sort of an interesting mech. It's actually got some good firepower for what it brings to the table as a second line mech, but it comes with a cost. Yes, a very big cost. Alright, let's just delve into this thing. 65 tons. With Indo-Steel and ferrofibrous armor. What's not to like about that? But, yes, you heard this correctly. It's a 353. Yes, 353. Well, at least it has jump jets to get it around a little bit. But it's very slow. So basically, they took a mech and put a bunch of equipment on it and just left it as a slow, slogging, non-XL engine mech. Hey, that's one good thing. But, you know, maybe, well, actually, if they had made it a 464, possibly, that might have made some difference. But you have to look at the numbers and see if the clan XL engines actually would help out or not. But, you know, now the nice thing is, it has 211 points of armor, so it's totally maxed out because of the ferrofibrous armor. Not, hey. So you get some goodness with all of that. Basically, with it being a 353, they're trying to figure out where to put all the tonnage to, and it's best to put it all into the armor because, hey, when you're that slow and you put as many heat sinks on it, as I'm about to say, there's no space left. Yes, it has 19 double heat sinks. So the original book said 20, but you know, actually it's 19. Because of the numbers and everything. So everything's filled out to the max. Alright, so there is no crit spots open on this thing. Just to let you know that. Now for equipment, it has four large pulse lasers, clan large pulse lasers, 2 in each arm, right and left arm. And then it has a ER small laser in the head. And then we got jump jets in the left, right torso, and center torso. Alright, so it's one of those mechs that has some pretty decent firepower out to 20. And all the times I've ever used this thing, it tears things apart. And it does attract a lot of attention because typically, you know, it's still supposed to be an anti-aircraft gun platform. You know, kind of the original design. But it does have some nasty punch with it because, you know, if you got somebody out there at 20 or less, those large pulse lasers and with clan tech, it's going to probably hit and connect out at the long range, 1 out of 4 easily. You know, with that mod there. Now, if you put a decent pilot in it, like a 3-4 pilot, even though it's a second line mech, you're looking at a lot of times you're negating either the movement modifiers or the range modifiers, or even both, depending on what you're shooting at. And it does the job really good. All the times I've ever used it is like, okay, it's like that scout over there, he's moving pretty good, he might be the only target. I'm going to throw 4 of them at it and just see if I connect with it. Now, you can do it because that's 40 points. Now, if you walk, that's 41. You can dissipate 38. So you can do that pretty decently. Now, if you even run, you can do that for a turn without having any problems when it comes to heat. Now, if you do jump, that's a different story. Then you're looking at 3 heat. So you're up by 1. So if you fire everything. So you have to look at your numbers and say, yeah, if I'm sitting around there needing 11s and 12s, I probably will just fire 3 of them and not worry about the heat problems that will cause problems in the long run when it comes to movement. Because this thing is a 3.5. You don't have a lot of movement to begin with, so to shoot yourself in the foot, literally, and that slows you down. Having a 2-3 moving mech, yeah, not very smart at all. So this is one of those mechs where you got to really watch your heat output. And if by chance you get close and you're within range, it's like, I'm going to throw that little ER small laser at you. Yeah, okay. So you got that going for you. Now, if you park this thing and you look at it and say, okay, I'm up on a hill someplace, I'm in a wooded hex, I don't have to move anymore, so I don't have to worry about adding any more movement modifiers upon me, and you're just looking at your targets. And if you got a really slow pick out there someplace, let's say you got an Atlas or something that's going do, and it's got, say, a 1 mod on it because it walked. You just look over there and go, okay, I can shoot the heck out of that thing. And you probably will connect with 4. And there's been many times I've played this mech. It will connect with 4 with those large pulses. And 40 points of damage, even though they're in 10-point blocks, that's still a lot of damage. And if you're doing the order of operations, I always like to call it, you look at your mechs and it's like, okay, this mech has all the heavy punching stuff. This got the medium weight punching stuff. These guys have the light plinker stuff that's going to do a lot of crits. This is one of those mechs that's either going to be one of the first ones you're going to fire or the second one fired. Because with those 10-point blocks, you're ripping off some good chunks of armor. And the average numbers are 6, 7, and 8. It's going to tear a lot of damage into those torsos, most likely. And it also kind of falls into that same category as like that one version of the Massacre. We had a Massacre that had 4, target computer and 4 large pulses. That's another great one too. And it kind of works the same way, where you can just tear the things apart pretty quickly. All right, so there you go. That is the mech. There's not much you can do with it unless you tear the thing completely apart, because it's kind of a second line mech. It's one of those mechs that you look at it and go, okay, it's kind of set in stone. Not much you can do to tear it apart and put it back together. But I'm not unhappy having 4 large pulse lasers. You just have to worry about taking care of your heat problems if you keep firing it. So, like, if you don't move this mech, you can do that for 2 turns. And the 3rd turn, you shut one of them off, so you fire 3. So it's 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3 if you're not moving. So, hey, that's a lot of damage. You're talking potential 110 points of damage. That's 1/3 of an Atlas, over 1/3 of an Atlas armor in 3 turns. And you have all your buddies helping out too. So the odds are an Atlas will lose most of its armor in 1 turn if you fire a star at it. It's going to get torn to pieces. So something to think about there. Now, there are a few options with this mech. Say they got the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 version. So you got a Rifleman IIC 2. All right. Now this is one that the 2 version is not something I ever consider using. It's not, well, it looks the same, but it's not something I really like, because you replace all the pulse lasers with 4 Ultra 2 cannons with 6 tons of ammunition. So yeah, you're not going to run out anytime soon. Plus, you need to scrap off a 1/2 ton armor. Yeah, that's not a big issue with that. You're still going to be running around 203, something like that, which is not a big issue when it comes to that. Basically, it's stripping some off the back or something of that nature. But you're losing a ton of firepower with it. You're gaining a lot of range with it. So in the anti-aircraft version mode, you can shoot something that's even farther out. Say you got VTOLs or something that are being a major problem out there at long distance. Yeah, you can start shooting and hammering away and start looking at the hitting the rotors or something of that nature. But when it comes to battlefield firepower, it's about, your potential, you got 4, 8 shots that potentially hit, so 16. Yeah, that's 16 versus 40. But, you gain range. Okay. Now you got the Rifleman IIC 3. This one, we're talking Clan Cloud Cobra. This one has 2 AC2 Ultras, and it also carries around a couple heavy lasers and 21 double heat sinks for cooling, and an active probe. Don't know why you would carry an active probe. Personally, I would go with the ECM instead, because I'd rather have more protected mode than using it as trying to find stuff. To me, that's just okay. Unless they're thinking somehow the active probe is going to help them with anti-aircraft. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. But it can take care of heat. But I'm not a big fan of heavy large lasers myself. I'd rather have the ER large lasers and go that route. All right. That's my thoughts. And then you have the Rifleman IIC. This retains 2 large pulse lasers, but it also has 2 ATM-9s. And it has 2 tons of ammunition, 16 double heat sinks. So you're looking at dissipating all the heat necessary, but you're gaining a little bit longer range with it. So you get something out of the deal. So the firepower at longer range, you probably go with something that's going to have long range capability and then short range capability for enclosed fighting. So it's like one the other, how you want to look at it. Load it out yourself, however you feel like it. Then you got the Rifleman IIC. This one uses improved jump jets. Okay, so we're gaining a little bit more distance when we do jump. Carries 19 double heat sinks, keeping 3 ER large lasers and 2 medium pulse lasers for enclosed. So basically you're looking at something that's got some good long range firepower and something that help it out enclosed. Now you're losing the pulse lasers. The firepower capability is actually a little bit more damage, but you're looking at long range versus shorter range. You got to get something enclosed before those medium pulse lasers kick in at 12. So it's one of those deals. But that comes at a kind of a more cost. Let's see, actually it's only about 40 more points more, so that ain't bad. Okay, then we got the 2C6. Okay, this one has the 2 HAG 30s and an anti-missile system with 7 tons of ammunition to provide, so it can fire a lot of, but those HAG 30s are pretty thirsty weapon systems. And it carries an ER small laser and an active probe. Once again, they're tossing the active probe on this thing. I'd like to talk to the person that designed that and go, what is your thinking for the active probe? I'd just like to know. And then we got the 2C7, this Novacat, introduced in 3078. It's based on the 2C5. This keeps the jump capability, but replaces all the weapons with heavy large lasers, plasma cannons, and a targeting computer. Alright, so if we got the first time, we got somebody with throw the targeting computer on. Now, you probably could throw a targeting computer on the other versions, but it would be at the cost of the pulse lasers being turned over to being ER large lasers. So, something to think about there. And then we got but then you're looking at more heat. So, it's like you probably would be stuck with something that trying to figure out how to balance all that out. I haven't done the looking at the math to figure that out. Then the 2C8, this one carries an ER large laser, a pair of AP Gauss rifles, and it's supported by a Streak 6 in one of the arms and right torso, and the head mounted ECM. So now we got ECM on board, and has 5 jump jets. Interesting. I see where something has changed here. Steel chassis allows the engineers to install the consolidated. This one went with the XL engine, so it's got the 325. So now it's a 5.85 moving. So yeah, that ain't bad. You're getting into the standard look when you're coming into most clan mechs that put the XL engines on. So you're able to toss in more weapons on board and go from there. And it comes in at about 2,500 battle value. That ain't bad. Well, I haven't ever played with that one, so I didn't have to take a look at how that would actually work out. So that would be something to scratch your head and go, let's try that sometime. So many different versions of this. And most of the time, I say 90% of the time I spent playing with the standard version over the years. Because I just like it. It just works for me. Kind of fits my design mode. Alright, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the Rifleman IIC. It's not a bad mech. In its standard mode, it's slow. So you got to think out ahead. You got to look at where you want to go with this thing because it's not going to react very fast. It has the range with weapons to control a good chunk of the board when it does park itself someplace. But, you know, you have to look out ahead and see where your avenues of approach are going to be when it comes to the enemy, where they want to be. And it's like you look at it, it's like, oh, they probably want to be here and they want to be here. So you got to plan out with a slow moving mech like this. It's the same thing when you're doing with assault mechs like the Atlases, etc., where you got a 3.5 assault mech. You have to think out ahead where you want to put it because it's not going to turn itself around on a dime and get across the board quickly. That's just not the case. So you have to think where I want to be, and then once it gets into that position, it's going to do some good damage. The standard version will do a lot of damage once it gets to where it needs to be. And it also kind of helps as a bodyguard in a way to your fire support mechs also. So you got some mechs that has a lot of LRMs on board and you don't feel like you want to move them very much. Hey, it makes a good bodyguard too. So, but it comes with a cost. It's a lot of battle value that you would be for parking something in the rear with the gear. You might be looking at moving into something else, a frontline mech. But yeah, you may be playing that narrative game, that scenario, and go from there. Hey, I'd like to hear how you guys ever used one of these and how they worked for you. Good, bad, or ugly. All right. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe. Share with your friends. And we will see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.